Hello everybody, welcome back to Gazania kitchen. I know it's been a while and I haven't posted video in a while, but I'm sorry. It's been for some personal reasons, but I'm back. So today we'll be cooking this very delicious ogbono soup. So please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more amazing recipes if you haven't subscribed already. Now let's cook this meal. So first of all, I already boiled my meat, as you can see in the video. So I boiled some shaki, which is cow stripes, some ponmo, and I also used some beef. And basically I just boiled my shaki, and I boiled my shaki for about an hour till it became tender. Then I added my ponmo and boiled for another additional 30 minutes. So boiling this meat, I seasoned it with some Maggi, some salt, and I used some onion, chopped in some onion, and just added like 4 scotch bonnet pepper, but I didn't blend the scotch bonnet pepper. I just added it in there for just some flavor and some spice rather. So as you can see in the video, this meat is properly boiled, it's tender already. And then what I just did was add a little bit of water to my meat stock because it was drying up already. And what I then did was added some yellow pepper, the one we call Cameroon pepper here in Nigeria. I didn't use the normal red atarudo. I used the yellow pepper because I just like the kind of aroma it gives to my local dishes. So I then added some red oil and added some mackerel fish, the one we call Titus, the general Titus fish we call in Nigeria here. So I added in some Titus to that, and I just used my spatula to just push everything down in the pot nicely. Then I went ahead and added 1 seasoning cube. I used my crayfish seasoning, and I used 1 because I have it in mind that this meat stock was seasoned already and I wouldn't want to over season my soup. So I then went ahead and covered my pot just to allow all the ingredients to get to know each other, for the mackerel to release its flavor and cook properly, for all other ingredients in there, the meat and then all other condiments in there to just really get to know each other and just cook nicely, and also boil properly with the red oil and pepper that was added earlier. So I allowed this to boil for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then as you can see it's all looking nice. I then went ahead and added some dried panla fish. I don't know what this is called in English, sorry, but here in Nigeria we call it panla, and it gives your soup this very nice aroma. It is quite tasty and it is quite affordable. You know, Gazania kitchen is all about giving you affordable dishes, like very nice and sumptuous meals without you having to break your bank, right? So I got this I think I got the fish for about 200 naira for about 4 pieces of fish, which is quite reasonable if you ask me. So I added that to the stock boiling already and just allowed that to boil for another say 5 to 7 minutes. So after about 7 minutes, I just came back and opened my pot. As you can see, it's all looking nice and yummy already. So what I then did was I took out my mackerel fish, which is the Titus fish, as we popularly call it in Nigeria. And as we know, this fish is prone to scattering all up in your soup, and I didn't want that. So what I did was I took out the mackerel because it was done, and then I knew I would add my ogbono pretty soon, so I just took that out before then proceeding to add in my ogbono. So usually what I like to do is I like to reduce condiments in my food before going ahead to add the ogbono. So I took out the ponmo from my sauce, or would I say my stock rather, that was boiling, and then I do this, and then this is to allow for more room in the pot for me to be able to add in my ogbono. Then I added in some ogbono, about a half cup of ogbono. This ogbono was grinded in the market for me with the normal local grinder, the market women use in grinding ogbono. And I added some crayfish to this when I was blending it. So what I then did was added about a cup and a half of water to my ogbono, because I realized it was a little bit too thick for my liking, and I didn't want that, because ogbono, the more it stays on the heat, the thicker it becomes, especially when you leave it for about an hour or 2 hours, or even till the next day when you take it off the heat, and then it becomes thicker than it was eventually. So I just put the water to loosen it up. Then I went ahead and added very tiny bit of salt, and I just allowed that to boil. All them, I just allowed them to come together and then just boil for a bit, just to allow all the ingredients marry each other properly. And I then reintroduced the ponmo I took out from the stock earlier in the video. I introduced it back into the ogbono at this point, and then added in some extra blended crayfish, and then just gave that a good stir. And yeah, I allowed that to boil for about another say 2 minutes, and I then went ahead and then added in some chopped ugwu. This is the pumpkin leaf. It's popularly called ugwu in Nigeria, and I cut this to this size because that is my preference. Some people prefer their ugwu tinier in their soups. I like my own a little bit chunky than usual. And also put in mind that the quantity of ugwu I used was totally as to the way I want. You can add a little or even more. Then I added in some uziza leaves. This is totally optional also, and the quantity you use can be determined by you. You can decide not to add uziza to your soup. You can decide to use just a very little bit of it or even more of it. But everything I used in this video is just the way I usually like to have my ogbono soup. I love them with a little bit of vegetable here and there, and I like my vegetables cut in like a bit chunky manner, you know, not too thin and all of that. So I allowed that to boil for about 5 minutes, just for the ogbono to get done properly. And then I reintroduced my mackerel fish, which is Titus, back in my ogbono. And by this time your ogbono should be almost ready. As you can see, I will just leave this for just some few more minutes before I then take it off the heat, like about just 2 minutes of this being on heat, and then I'll turn off the heat. As you can see, your ogbono has come together nicely. All the ingredients are nice and all of that. You can test for seasoning. Seasoning is not enough, you can decide to adjust seasoning to your preference or the way you like it. If you like to add more oil in your ogbono, you can add more oil if you want to, but I didn't add too much oil in this video because I do not like, I'm trying to cut down on oil and all of that, you know, fit farm now. Okay, then as you can see, this has been boiling nicely for about 2 minutes here. So as you can see, my ogbono is ready. At this point I turned off the heat, and as you can see, look at how pretty this ogbono is. It is not too runny, it is not too thick. Oh lord, oh lord, at this point I just couldn't wait to dive into this ogbono with some nice hot fufu. I actually might use my food to eat this. It was so nice, it was amazing. It didn't take me too much time. I think apart from the meat, sorry, the shaki, that's the beef cow, sorry, the stripe I had to boil earlier, that took me about an hour, and then the ponmo that took me extra 30 minutes. This whole soup in a whole, I didn't spend up to 30 minutes in putting this together. Really, it is so time friendly. It is not time consuming. It is easy to make. You can totally tweak one or two things to your own preference. You can make it the way you like. Just play around with it. It is nothing too serious, really. Ogbono is not one of those soups that they'll say, oh, if you do this and then everything is destroyed, that has like very detailed steps and all of that. Just play around with it. Just do the things you want to do. Add your seasoning the way you want them. Just be comfortable with your cooking. It's not something that is too serious. It's not that serious, right? So just do the basic things, and then you'll be fine. You'll be good, and you'll have this nice and delicious pot of ogbono soup to go with any meal you want to have. As you can see, our ogbono is ready and it's been served. As I said, I had this with some fufu. It was very amazing. You can have this with any kind of swallow you want to, or even have it just the way it is. So thank you for watching my video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. See you some other time. Bye.